Museum.
Oh, hey, welcome! Would you like a tour?
Yeah. Sounds good.
For a tour, just fill out this form. Okay, so welcome to the Lost Generation Museum.
Hold up, Lost Generation Museum?
Lost Rat Museum.
Oh, that? We've been needing to fix the sign. What would a Lost Rat Museum even look like?
Okay, well, we'll just head out then.
Well, I guess you didn't read the fine print. You have to stay with me throughout this whole tour.
Oh,
Okay.
then.
Well, I guess I just have to simplify my information as you guys were thinking that this was a Lost Rat Museum. Okay, so the Lost Generation was a term coined by Gertrude Stein, and the term refers to a group of people that were coming of age during World War I and the Roaring 20s. They were disillusioned and cannot connect with post-war society. Today you will see groups of artists and writers who were part of this Lost Generation. Follow me to our bookshop with literature from the 1920s. First up we have The Sun Also Rises by Hemingway. The novel describes the protagonist and narrator Jake Barnes, who returns from the war wounded and unable to sustain a relationship with the woman he loves. In this novel, Hemingway portrays the war as a cause of Jake Barnes' emotional and physical wounds. He also portrays the theme of excessive drinking as a common coping method of the Lost Generation, in addition to continuous travel. The overall commentary conveyed by Hemingway as a war caused Jake to enter a state of drunkenness and a constant search for something more. Okay, now on to T.S. Eliot.
I'm T.S. Eliot, and I'm right now working on Wasteland, which is a poem. Basically, it's like a mashup of references to other literature by Shakespeare, James Joyce, Dante. And so in this poem, I'm commenting on the barren sterility of the earth, or just this world that really has no growth or meaning. And it's my commentary on the effects of World War I and how it's affected society. Many people in the Lost Generation were critical and cynical of the motivations of World War I, and I say things like, "And the dead tree gives no shelter," so as you can see, nothing grows. Or, "I can connect nothing with nothing," because after World War I, many of us in the Lost Generation felt nothing really made sense. We couldn't really connect with anything, and culture itself was fragmented.
Here we have another poem by T.S. Eliot called The Love Song of J. Alfred Prufrock. This was a poem depicting the inability to make change in life, as the poem is from the narrator Prufrock, addressed to a potential lover. He is conflicted in expressing his emotions. The poem includes struggles with masculinity and gender roles that many men in the Lost Generation faced following the war. Despite being sure of their feelings, they were hesitant and unsure of how to navigate pursuing women. Next up, we have my personal favorite, The Great Gatsby. The story revolves around the main character, Jake Gatsby, who lived a luxurious and fast life. Throughout the novel, themes of moral corruption, decadence, and idealized past were shown all throughout the novel. Tom's moral corruption of cheating on both Daisy and Myrtle was a result of his greed and sexual desires. Daisy is the most morally corrupt character in the novel because she chooses money over true love. Jay Gatsby and other characters indulge in wealth in order to cope with post-war disillusionment after Daisy left him while he was gone for war. The idealized past of people in the 1920s is shown as Gatsby only sees Daisy like how he wants to see her. Next up, we have Main Street by Sinclair Lewis. The novel revolves around the main character, Carol, who moves to this new town and wants to turn it into a modern utopia.
Hi, I'm Carol from Main Street by Sinclair Lewis. Throughout this novel, you'll see tensions between the new modern ideals and the traditional values, when upper-class women who dress, speak, and act like they're stuck in the past criticize me because I'm different from them. In this novel, Sinclair Lewis creates satire out of narrow-mindedness, conformity, and the resistance to change in a small town.
Here's Babbitt, also a novel written by Sinclair Lewis.
Hi, I'm George F. Babbitt from Sinclair Lewis's Babbitt, and I'm a successful real estate broker in Zenith. I just living my normal middle-class suburban white male life until my life turned upside down. See, my friend killed his wife, and now I am just so distrustful. I am dissatisfied with this monotonous middle-class life. You know, the people of Zenith, they're superficial and materialistic. They only care about wealth.
Next we have The Days Are Not Full Enough by Ezra Pound.
Oh, sorry, I didn't see there. I'm Ezra Pound. I'm just writing my poem, and the days are not full enough. So, I'll read some lines. And the days are not full enough, and the nights are not full enough, and life slips by like a field mouse, not shaking the grass. So in this poem, I'm speaking for the lost generation because, you know, after the war, well, we try to find meaning in life and we try to find something more. Many of us just resorted to drinking or traveling. Like, I am an expatriate, which means I moved away from America and lived in a different country. But see, the days are not full enough. I can't find meaning or fulfillment in anything I do, just like many people in the lost generation sought to escape and find meaning in life.
Here's our first piece of art. It's called Automat, painted by Edward Hopper.
Hi, I'm the woman from Edward Hopper's Automat. In this painting, which was painted in the 1920s, you can see I'm sitting at an automat, which is a restaurant that has mechanical delivery for customers' orders. But you can see I'm painted as very lonely and kind of distressed. And it's a reflection of the feelings of many lost generation individuals, because even with this modernization and technology, we felt disconnected and isolated from the world.
Okay, next we have another painting done by Edward Hopper. It's called The House by a Railroad. So over here you can see that this house is next to a railroad instead of a front yard or neighbors. It kind of just shows the isolation that people felt when the society was modernizing so rapidly. The awkward pairing of a railroad and a house just shows how modern progress left agrarian society behind. Next we have Dying Soldier in a Trench, painted by Willie Jackal.
I am the dying soldier in the trench, in the painting by Willie Jackal. This painting shows the death and destruction caused by the war. Many people in the lost generation felt they lost their innocence because of the carnage and horror that they witnessed and everything that they lost as a result of World War I.
And finally, this is our last painting. It's called American Gothic by Grant Wood. It shows a couple, or other critiques say that it's actually a father and daughter. And behind them is a farmhouse, and it has a Gothic window that the title was inspired by.
We are the two people from Grant Wood's American Gothic, his painting from 1930. Although this painting was not painted in the early 1920s, it is his most popular piece and is consistent with his art style, regionalism, which depicts rural American scenes.
Many critics believe that Grant created this painting to satirize small-town culture. However, Grant wanted to affirm or preserve traditional agrarian America at a time where modern art movements such as Cubism were more popular.
Oh, what's that? Is that a comic strip?
No, it's actually a political cartoon.
In the political cartoon, the generation previous to the lost generation looks down upon them and views them as ungrateful due to their dissatisfaction with what they have: cars, schools, music. It's true that the lost generation was not satisfied with these advancements because they saw past these material items. Technology enabled the war they suffered. Urbanization led to isolation, and nothing could fill the void they felt as they tried to return to society post-World War.
And now you've reached the end of our tour.
That was actually kind of interesting.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of something.
Yeah, I think the lost generation reminds me of today's millennials. It might seem like a little stretch, but both generations experienced shared trauma from both war and economic recession. Millennials witnessed the war on terror following 9/11 when the government sent in troops to Afghanistan. But after years of this war on terror, they became distrustful and cynical of the government's actions.
The cost of the war would then lead into the Great Recession, which mirrors the Great Depression. Older millennials would face high unemployment rates and their wages would suffer. Younger millennials would then go into a more competitive job market and would also have to face the issue of college being the most expensive it's ever been. Both generations also face changing values and social issues such as the LGBTQ+ community and women's roles.